All right, so we're going to try to demonstrate something here. We're going to try to demonstrate the nature of the performance issues that started when patch 3.0 was released. Before that, any quad-core or even dual-core CPU of the time when the game was released was capable of running this game at 60 FPS. It was a CPU-bound game, but as long as you had a quality CPU, you were going to run it. End of story, period. I had a Core Duo in my MacBook Pro, and on my Windows partition, I ran it at 60 FPS on low, solid, until patch 3.0 was released, and then the performance just absolutely tanked. So I have the frame rate open right here in Fraps. Right now it's showing the frame rate, give or take, but 100, which is perfectly fine, right? It's perfectly reasonable to be at around 100. I'm on a GTX 970. But we're just going to get these two armies. They're both 200 armies. This is not an unreasonable scenario for a particular game. These are both 200 armies. We're just going to make them fight and just watch what happens to the frame rate. I think the lowest I saw there for a second was 15. It's unreasonably low. Now let's see if we can find out if there is a bottleneck anywhere. Let's put some of our monitoring tools on here just to take a look at them. I could do this with MSI Afterburner and put an overlay on the screen, but I think this is a little bit better because the overlay doesn't always give you accurate labels, so I'd have to explain what each metric was, and I don't really feel like doing that. So okay, there are the diagnostic and monitoring tools right there. So we're going to spawn both the armies and start the fight, and I need to put all these on a hotkey again. So okay, we have two armies. We're going to check the frame rate, and we're going to look at the CPU load, and we're going to look at the GPU load, and see if we can figure out if there's a bottleneck somewhere. I don't suspect that we're going to find one. And I'm looking at the task manager off on my other monitor, and I'm not using any more than 4 gigs of system memory, and I'm using the 64-bit version of StarCraft II, so system memory should not be a bottleneck at all. So we're going to make these two armies fight, check the frame rate, look at the GPU load. It's at 35%, 30%, 36%, and we'll do that again. And we'll check the CPU load this time. Hotkey both those armies, start the fight. Now we're going to check CPU load. Briefly went above 80. One just almost hit 90%. But the frame rate was still garbage. One went, okay, it just shot above 92%, but the frame rate was good during that time. So it's not a CPU bottleneck. Only one core is really being stressed in this game, but it's not reaching 99 or 100%. The GPU seems to have a hard time using more than 60% of its total potential most of the time, spiking the odd time at around 95%, but that's not during the times where there are significant dips in FPS. So I don't understand where the bottleneck is. You know, the bus interface, there's nothing for stress. The video engine load, nothing for stress. The memory controller load, that, you know, it's at half for its stress. The VRAM, you know, there's only about 33% of the VRAM in use. It makes absolutely no sense. And you know, even the temperatures on my CPU are fine. The wattage is fine. It's not like it's throttling or anything like that. Ignore the BCLK right here. This particular tool does not measure Skylake BCLK accurately. This should be 100 megahertz, and that should be 4400 megahertz. Just ignore that. The VID you can also ignore. But yeah, there's no stress on the CPU, really, that should be causing a drop in frame rate. There's no stress on the GPU that should be causing a drop in frame rate. I don't understand what's going on with this game. The only thing that I could think of would be maybe a driver issue, but I don't think that that's the case, because this particular issue only presented itself after patch 3.0, and all 3 rigs that I've tested the game on after 3.0 have suffered a performance loss. So I don't know what's going on. Blizzard is clearly responsible for it because they're the ones who implemented the patch, and the performance issues started after the patch was implemented almost a year ago. Now, I'm just not sure what to do about it. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really unfortunate that the game appears to be broken right now.